Baybars Altuntas es el actual presidente del World Business Angels Investment Forum. Es co-presidente de la red global de Inversores Ángeles con base en Washington DC y vicepresidente de EBAN. También preside la Asociación de Inversores Ángeles de Turquía y es el embajador para el Foro Mundial de Emprendimiento para Turquía y la Península balcánica. Fue reconocido como la persona de Europa más involucrada globalmente con el mercado de la inversión en etapas tempranas, desde el año 2014 al 2018. Es el creador de la teoría de emprendimiento mundialmente reconocida como The Altuntas Startup Compass Theory, investigada por la Sheffield University y utilizada en un sinfín de programas de MBA. XCALA Summit presenta a Baybars Altuntas.
One of the best introductions, but thank you very much. Dear friends, in 1950s, 60s, invention was very important. Anything invented was ready to be consumed by the end users or consumers. Because the world needed, you can change the photo if you like. I'm shorter than him. You convince people that I'm shorter than him. And, but today, this is not the case. Today, innovation that counts. Today, anything invented does not mean that it will be consumed by the customer. It should be compatible with their pocket. It should ease their life. And it should be something meaningful for them. So, from 1950s to today, there is a big change in the behavior of customers. If you invent something, and if customer doesn't like it, it means you are an intelligent person. Congratulations. But that's all. But today, if you want to do more than becoming an intelligent, more than being recognized as an intelligent person, then you have to convert your invention to innovation. So we need a very important catalyzer to take a very important role between invention and innovation. We are calling them as entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, entrepreneurs of the 21st century have a great challenge: access to finance. Access to finance is, as a matter of fact, the most important challenge, not only of entrepreneurs, but all governments, economies of today. So, entrepreneurs now are lucky because there are more opportunities available for them in their financial roadmap. Crowdfunding platforms, VCs, wealth management institutions, private equity funds, banks, co-investment funds, government grants, exhilaration centers, they are able to benefit from different sources of finances available for them today. And one of them is angel investments. Angel investors are different than others. Why? Because angel investors are able to put more than money, more than finance. They are able to put know-how, mentorship, and networking in the business they invest. So they are, as a matter of fact, putting smart finance in businesses they invest. So smart finance is something entrepreneurs today need. Why? Because they are going to compete in a very tough market of the world today. And smart finance is the only way they have to benefit if they want to create global success stories. But smart finance, which is provided by angel investors, is not something that can be reachable so easily. OECD statistics show that 1.2% of entrepreneurs are able to reach angel finance. And one entrepreneur in every 10 entrepreneurs is able to create a global success story. Angel investment and angel investors came to the world's economy in 1980s. When angel investors came to the game, we didn't have any statistics. We didn't know what could be the success ratios, exit strategies, exit statistics of these angels. But now we know. We have statistics today, which means these statistics is going to drive the strategies of early stage equity markets in coming years. We started investing individually. Startup or entrepreneur needed, let's say, 100K, and I preferred investing my 100K in the startup business individually. But when statistics started coming, we understood that it was not a smart idea to invest my 100K to only one startup. Because I know that one startup in every 10 startups is able to create a success story. This means it will be better to put my 10K to one startup and distribute other 90K to other 9 startups. But startup needs 100K, not 10K, to scale up the business. In that case, I have to find other investors with the same mindset with me and put 100K together to these 10 different startups. This means I have to create an angel group, a business angel network. This will be a smart step to keep the risk ratio of my investments. As a matter of fact, this is also good for startups, because if I would put my 100K to one startup, then this startup would benefit from one know-how, one network, and one mentorship. But if we put 100K as a group, then they will have access to 10 network, 10 mentorship, 10 know-how. This is something also good for startups. But when we started investing as a group, then, of course, the rules of the game started to change a little bit. Because it is not very possible for an angel investor to transfer his know-how, mentorship, and networking if he invests more than 5 startups. Because we have 7 days a day. And I am going to dedicate one of my days for my one of the startups, the other, and Saturday and Sunday will be for my family. So when we understood that we had to invest together, and we had to invest at least 10 startups to catch a good return of investment success, then we started perceiving our investments like a portfolio. So angel investment started to become like a portfolio management. Portfolio from good startups. We know that 1.2% of startups are able to reach us. And now we have very good supporters in the ecosystem. We can benefit acceleration centers, technoparks, innovation centers, incubation centers. They are very important for angel investors, because if we start dealing with startups and entrepreneurs one-to-one, it will take so much time. However, they are going to make the pipeline management, and they are going to, let's say, open their doors to good startups. And it is better to go to incubation centers, to acceleration centers for angel investors and deal with the selected entrepreneurs. So, but as you see in the booklet, my speech is not about angel investment. My speech is about angel investment funds. Because we now started to talk about the next big thing of angel investment as angel investment funds. Why? The roadmap of angel investors is they first try to discover the best startups. They create their portfolio. And the next step is to make exit in the next 5 to 7 years with a good multiplier. Good multiplier means minimum 20 multipliers. It should be minimum 20 because statistics again show that a portfolio of 10 startups generally gives back 2.3 multiplier, which means if I put my 100K to 10 different startups, most probably under normal conditions, I will get $230,000 5 to 7 years later. But now, two things changed. The first thing, the exit timing. We were talking about 5 years, then it became 7 years, then we started talking about 8 years, and we are now talking about 10 years. So our exit expectation from a startup we invested is around 10 years, 8 to 10 years now. So we are inviting more public money to come to the game because we are taking more risk. After the global economic crisis, of course, liquidity in markets is now less. And we are inviting public authorities, policymakers, to discover the power of smart finance. And we are inviting them to cooperate with angel investors to turn public money to smart money. So public policymakers should decide, should give an important decision about their policies while supporting entrepreneurs. Is it something better to support entrepreneurs directly? Or is it a better idea to support the supporters of entrepreneurs, like acceleration centers, like incubation centers, angel investors, or private equity funds? So co-investment is now a good, is a terminology we are using now more in early stage equity and capital markets, because it is a better idea for governments to co-invest with angel investors to startups instead of donating money to entrepreneurs. Donating money, putting money in businesses as a donation showed in many countries that it is not something really good for entrepreneur and also for the economy, because this money is ending. 12 months later, entrepreneur is coming back and says, money ended. So I want now more donation. Unfortunately, when money ended, and if he launched his business with the money donated from the government, in the beginning, he had a good dream with no bad Excel sheet, but now he has a negative Excel sheet on the paper, and it will be very difficult to convince investors now for this dream, because there is no dream now. Now there is a reality on the table. Let's not forget that angel investors are not like others. Angel investors are investing in the potential of business, in the potential of entrepreneurs. So they are investing for the future. But VCs, venture capitalists, private equity funds, they invest for the last 3 years Excel sheet figures. So there is a great difference between them. And angel investors generally are coming from an entrepreneurial background. So they speak the same language with the entrepreneur. Private equity funds, VCs, they are not coming from an entrepreneurial background. And they are not using their own money. They are using third parties' money. So they are not able to take the risk so easily like angel investors. Angel investors are using their own money. Let's come back to the main topic of the speech. Angel investment funds. Okay. 1980, 2019. Years passed, around 40 years. We lived a global economic crisis, and governments are not very keen to put money. They are also very keen to put advice and make regulations, etc. But cash, liquidity is not so accessible. This is the case. And angel investors are now waiting for their return of investments. Angel investors naturally are not printing money at home. In order them to reinvest, first they have to take the return of investments, isn't it? They have to make successful exits. So the curve was going up, and it is now a little bit slow in early stage equity markets. Why? Because invested companies now should have good exits, should give money invested back to investors, angel investors. And then angel investors will reinvest. But number of startups are increasing, opportunities are increasing, and invested companies also need access to finance for their second, third, or fourth round investments. In that case, we have to develop new strategies to attract fresh finance for the industry. So angel investment funds now in our agenda, because it is now maybe a good strategy to attract the finance of non-qualified and potential angel investors by inviting them to put money to fund, not in startups directly. And this fund will be managed by qualified angel investors. They will appoint qualified angel investors as lead investors, and these silent potential angel investors, virgin angel investors, will learn what is happening in the industry, and they will be qualified next year, and they will put more money in the industry. Because we know that number of potential angel investors in economies are more than the angel investors acting in the industry. They want to learn, they want to invest, they want to discover the opportunities of early stage equity markets, but they don't trust themselves. They don't want to make something wrong. So it is meaningful to invite them to put money in the angel investment funds. And money shouldn't be so much. They can put $5,000, $10,000, no problem. And they learn what is happening in these new markets. So World Business Angels Investment Forum has launched its angel investment fund 3 months ago. And you can find the rules, etc., in the website, wbaforum.org. And we are going to invest in global fundraising stage startups on 18 February. And it will be in Istanbul, in Turkey. And 100 selected startups will be on the stage from different countries. And we are going to invest as a fund in these startups, not as an angel group. This is the strategy we agreed in the board. So I am now inviting all of you to reconsider the importance of startups and entrepreneurs for your economies. And if there are any policymakers in this room, please try to bring some tax incentives for investors. Many countries in Europe brought angel law to their countries, UK, Portugal, Turkey. In Turkey, for example, in my country, 75% tax incentive is available for angel investors. Treasury Department is recognizing, certifying angel investors, giving a tax number, and the next year, if you put 100K, you are able to deduct 75K from your tax you would pay. Such kind of laws are useful or not. I think they are very efficient to empower the local economies. 8 years ago, Turkey was at the 32nd row in Europe for startup economy for angel investment statistics. After this law came, last year it became the 5th biggest angel investment market of Europe. 512 million euro invested in startups. So I think it is also very important to carry this vision to your countries, because XCALA is hosting now the whole Latin America and Caribbean regions investors and startups in this event. It will be good to knock the doors of your economy ministries and put the samples of other countries and convince them to make such kind of laws to support the supporters of entrepreneurs. I want to end my speech by clarifying the difference between startup and entrepreneur, because I see that we sometimes use entrepreneur as a word, sometimes we use startup as a word. So it will be good, I think, to know the difference. If you have, let's say, if you have a business idea to make money by selling water, then you have to launch a business. You have to establish your company. And if your dream is to make money by selling this water, and if you are also dreaming your daughters, your sons, your whole family will make the same business even after you die, then this means you have a traditional entrepreneurial mindset. And you are a potential SME, small and medium-sized enterprise. But if you have a different mindset, if you saw the opportunity, and if you are aiming to sell the company that you established to sell this water, and make also money from the company that you will sell 5 years later, 7 years later, which means if there is an exit strategy in your mind while launching your business, if you are not dreaming your daughters, your sons will make the same business, and reinvest your money in another entrepreneurial story, then you have a startup mindset. And this is not a traditional mindset. This is we are calling as a millennium entrepreneurs mindset, let's say. In that case, you are trying to kill two birds with one stone. Making money by selling water and making, second time, another money by selling the company you established to sell this water. So this is the startup mindset, and angel investors enjoy cooperating with entrepreneurs who have a startup mindset, because they will want to make an exit in the future. And if they understand that they are in the same page with this entrepreneur, then everything will be easier. 25% of the world angel investment money went to IT and mobile technologies last year. Last year, 340,000 angel investors invested 9.6 billion euro in Europe. And this is $26 billion in the United States by 320,000 angel investors. In Europe, we use the terminology as business angel. In the States and Canada, it is used as angel investor. But they are same things at the end of the day. But business angel is a little bit more comprehensive. It also includes mentorship, know-how transfer, networking, sharing, etc. It includes more than finance. So the total market size all over the world is expected to become $75 billion. In Dubai, we have the Middle East Trade Association for Business Angels. In Nigeria, we have EBAN, Africa Business Angels Network. In Brussels, we have EBAN, the European Trade Association for Business Angels. In Singapore, we have BANSEA, the Southeast Asia Angels Network. And in the United States, we have ACA, Angel Capital Association. And in Canada, it is NACO. So these are the main players of the world early stage equity markets. And in Latin America, we have XCALA representing this industry. I think it is very important for you to follow what is happening in different continents and what liquidity and finance opportunities are available for you and for your businesses. Let's not forget that invested companies also need access to finance. So it is very important you to follow the private equity funds, wealth management institutions, family offices, in order to VCs, in order to attract their finance for your further round of investments. Startups up to 50K, they need seed funding. And it is the equity gap one, and it is really very difficult to raise funds in the very early stage. From 50K to 500K, we have angel investors. They are very active in this line. After 3 million to 20, we have private equity funds, VCs, banks, etc. After 20 M, then of course stock exchanges are coming to the game. M&A, merger and acquisitions are coming to game. So this is the financial roadmap of startups. And if you have paid attention, I didn't say what is happening between 500K and 3M. It is the second equity gap. It is really very difficult to raise finance in this line, because I saw yesterday and today in startup pitchings that some startups are trying to raise $1 million, $2 million. It is really more difficult to raise $1 million than raising $5 million. Because when it is time to raise finance, then you have to know exactly the address you have to visit. If it is 1M, and if you go to angel investors, they will say, sorry, but it is over our budget. If you visit VCs, they will say, sorry, but we are investing more than 3M because it is very expensive to invest in 1M because their professional staff are costing so much. So European Commission established a committee to find a solution for this equity gap too, and governments are invited to act more to fill this equity gap between 500K and 3M. So I am advising you to develop your business models while making presentations to investors and keep these figures in your mind. And I think it is 0, 0, 0. Time is up. Then thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Baybars, stay with me. We are going to have some minutes for an interview.
Yes, okay.
Now, thanks for your time,
Please.
your speech and presentation.
I'm thanking you so much.
Please. Thank you. Well, a few days ago, I was reading an article about entrepreneurship, and it says that 2020, next year, is going to be the banner year for entrepreneurship. Do you agree with that, and why?
Next year. In which article it was?
An article, a blog about entrepreneurship, talking about the opportunities for startups.
To tell you the truth, I don't know what the article wants to say.
Sure, okay.
Do
you think there is an opportunity next year it will become maybe...
In the global market?
Yes, of course.
Is there any... I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the answer of this question.
Okay, don't worry. Let's
Go to
continue.
second question.
Let's continue. Tell me about why, what do we need to work on, and what are you doing through the World Business Angels Investment Forum?
Yeah. Thank you very much, because it is a simple question for me. I know the answer. World Business Angels Investment Forum is the affiliated partner of G20. And we understood that early stage equity markets and startup economy are not under the scope of G20 leaders. So when we understood this, and when we understood the importance of public finance to create a sustainable startup economy, then we decided to visit the G20 administration, and WBAF became the institution in the world to advocate the importance of angel investment, incubation centers, science and technology parks at the G20 level. So our committee is chaired by the Queen Máxima of the Netherlands, and it was the 10th year celebration a few days ago in New York, because she is also advocating the financial inclusion globally. And financial inclusion is a very important, agenda item of G20 leaders, because there are 2 billion people unbanked today. And of course, angel investors and startups are very important to solve this problem, because financial technologies, fintech, insurtech are very important tools to solve this financial inclusion problem and attract more people in the banking system. So now there is a great keenness to cooperate with startups to produce more innovative solutions to attract unbanked people in the financial inclusion concept.
Great. Since today, the World Business Angel Investment Forum will have an agreement with XCALA.
Yes.
May you tell me about that?
We are going to make a collaboration agreement, because this is my first time in a XCALA meeting. But for the last 3 or 4 years, I have been following the developments of the activities of XCALA. So we said why we don't cooperate and transfer our know-hows together with each other, because many things are happening in the world and many things are happening in Latin America and Caribbean region. So it will be good to connect our global community with the community of XCALA, which has more than 20 countries. So it will be a cooperation in the training area, the mentorship, the global fundraising states, Latin America version can be done instead of startups coming to Turkey, maybe investors come here. So this will be the first step, this agreement will be the first step of a good collaboration for next years.
Nice. Imagine that you have a map of the world in front of you. Can you tell me which is the strongest about each zone? An example, education, access to financing, Europe, America. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think everybody is talking about the entrepreneur education for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And everybody is criticizing entrepreneurs and startups. Don't know how to make pitching, don't know how to prepare a business plan, don't know, and they should develop their skills, etc. But nobody is talking about the education of investors. So WBAF Business School is highlighting this question. I think, of course, investing in the right team is very important for investors. But for entrepreneurs and startups, invested by the right team is very important. So I think we should focus more on education and training programs of investors. For example, WBA Business School developed a proficiency test for investors. And we are giving a QBAC plus course for them, Qualified Angel Investor course and proficiency test. This is what we did at the London Stock Exchange, at the Qatar Development Bank, in some countries' regional development agencies. And after they are taking this test, if their score is fine, then they are certified as a qualified angel investor. So I think angel investor and qualified angel investor are different things. So I think I have to invite, this is my responsibility, entrepreneurs and startups also to make a due diligence about their investors. And of course, the best investor will be the one who made exit before.
Okay, okay. Tell me, if we talk about government support, because you were talking and developing that chapter during your presentation, how can they support? Cash, measures, you were talking about policymakers.
As a matter of fact, the co-investment fund structure is a good way to support entrepreneurs. I want to give an example from Turkey. A regional development agency, there are 26 regional development agencies in Turkey. One of them said they are going to co-invest with an angel investor in startups. And they said they are going to match the same amount of money they are going to put. So if an angel investor puts $1, then they are putting $1 too. It is $2. Then the development bank of Turkey said, oh, this is fine. Because in their articles, it says if regional development agencies are putting and making an investment, development bank can also match their investment.
They share the benefits and the risks?
Yes, and it became $4 because they said, they are putting $2, we are putting $4. Then Treasury Department said, we have a 200 million euro fund of funds, and it is also possible we can match the investment of this structure. So this became $8. European Investment Fund now in Luxembourg is saying if the Treasury Department of a government is in the game, they can also match the same amount. So what happened? This $1 of an angel investor on the street became $16. This is a good advantage for the economy. Why? Let's assume that I am an angel investor in New York, and there is a startup here in Uruguay, okay? And the startup in Uruguay has a business idea. He or she needs $100,000 and as a business model. Another guy in New York has also the same business in mind, the same business model, almost same skills with this guy, and he also needs $100,000. So what is the reason as an American angel investor to put my 100K to a startup in Uruguay, but not in New York? What could be the reason? I think we have to give an answer to this question, isn't it? If the country has such kind of an matchmaking co-investment structures, investing in the startup can be something very meaningful for me. Because if I am going to put my 100K only to one startup in New York, here I will be able to put my 100K to 10 different startups because there are many co-investment structures here, and the government is putting the same, regional development agency of Montevideo, let's say, is putting the same amount of money I am putting. In that case, I am able to decrease my risk if I invest in a startup in Montevideo, in Uruguay. So I think it is very important policymakers to understand this issue, because the developed markets like US, UK, Singapore, they don't have so much matchmaking and co-investment structures. If policymakers understand this missing chain, and if they put such kind of advantage on the table, then it will be very meaningful for an American investor to come here and invest in this startup. But more important than money, this investor is going to bring to this country is the know-how and mentorship and networking he brings with himself. For whom? Not for entrepreneurs, for investors of Uruguay. Because I am sure that investors of almost all countries also need networking, mentorship, and know-how from the qualified angel investors who made exit before.
Do fund investors pay attention to environmental and social impact of projects?
Impact investment is really now very popular.
Yeah.
Yesterday in Croatia, for example, European Investment Fund announced the 30 million euro impact investment fund with our High Commissioner in Croatia, in Zagreb. I couldn't join this event because this was also very important. And today, WBAF High Commissioner is going to announce that 15 million euro of this fund is going to be used for impact investment opportunities of global fundraising stage of WBAF. Of course, such kind of funds have their own rules. EIF, European Investment Fund, says it should be based in Zagreb or in Croatia or Slovenia. But it is not difficult to make the base of startups and change the base of the country. Wiley, a publication house in the United States, published a book some years ago, and I wrote one of the chapters. And the chapter I wrote was The topic was Hello Entrepreneurs, Goodbye Borders. I think after the internet age, we don't need to consider about where the startup is based or not, but we should focus on what like a social justice, how they are developing, how they are contributing to recruitment of more people, and how they are trying to change the society through innovation and their innovative business ideas.
Yesterday we were talking about ethics and business. Do you agree that it's important?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. And angel, I think angel investors, if they are real angels, then they have to consider more than the others about ethics and transparency. In the world of digital transformation comes first. And I think this transparency is also bringing good opportunities for everybody. For example, stock exchanges were not very keen to open their doors to entrepreneurs before the global economic crisis. But after the global economic crisis, because they started losing their customers, and they are now they are not able to find good companies to list so easily, they started opening their doors to entrepreneurs, startups, angel investors. For example, London Stock Exchange Group developed the Elite program. Istanbul Stock Exchange opened private market to match angel investors and entrepreneurs. Thailand Stock Exchange started listing startups. Of course, there are questions, important questions. Why stock exchanges don't want to list startups so easily? Because listing means you are inviting people to invest in these investable companies, and because you are listing, they are perceived as investable companies. And startups carry risk, and it is very difficult to list the companies with so much risk as an investable company and invite people to invest. But on the other hand, when you start listing startups, you are bringing a transparency.
Of course.
You are disclosing everything to people. I think this is something important, and from ethics point of view, this transparency is very important to attract more investors to the game.
Baybars, thank you so much. Is there something else you want to add?
I am sure everybody is going to find all sessions of the XCALA Summit a rewarding experience by collaborating more and by bearing these smart dynamics in mind. I am sure we are going to make a very positive change in the world economy. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks so much.